AITAH, for asking my wife for a divorce? I, 41M, have been married to my wife 36F for over 4 years now. She has 2 kids, boy 16 and a girl 15 from a previous relationship. We live in a house that is hers. I moved in right after our marriage. Things were good initially, but the last year I have been feeling misplaced and honestly exhausted by the arrangement that we have. Now, I knew she was a package deal when I married her, but I didn't realize the amount of time that was required for me to put in. From the moment I wake up to the moment I go to bed, my wife barks orders at me. It can be anything from garden work, working on the house, going shopping, picking up her kids from their extracurriculars, tutoring them, which is a whole nother can of worms. It's her mom's birthday. It just never ends. I feel like I never have any time for myself. I never get to hang out with my friends anymore or do the things that I'm actually interested in. One of the things that is demanded from me is spending time with her kids, tutoring them in math and physics, which has been extremely frustrating, as I don't see them pursuing STEM-related career, but my wife has convinced them that they should become research scientists. I'm also required to tutor them in chemistry, even though last time I studied this subject was in high school over 20 years ago, and I don't remember much, which requires me to read the textbook, learn the material, and then spoon-feed them the information. This takes up at least 6 to 8 hours of my time a week, and when they came back with a C on their test, it's automatically my fault cause I didn't teach them well enough. They also attend tennis and piano lessons, and I'm often required to, and from practice. I also have no privacy in my own home. There are always people there, either her friends or her sisters. She has 3 of them, where the kids brought their friends over. I feel like the house basically has revolving doors when anyone can come and go as they please. Not this might be my own personal problem, as I am an introvert. I prefer my own space without any outsiders in it. The catalyst occurred about last month when I was required to go to IKEA, get a desk, assemble it myself, while she spent 6 hours making spaghetti for dinner while talking on the phone the entire time. And when we went to bed, she told me to tutor her oldest in math. As I was laying in bed, I had this awakening of why am I putting up with this? I used to spend time with my friends. I used to sit home and play video games all day and eat pizza. I used to go on trips. Why am I in a situation that doesn't benefit me? I realized I am basically a supporting cast member in my own life. Last week I sat her down and we had a mature conversation of me wanting a divorce. To my surprise, she didn't scream or yell, and she tried convincing me to stay, and after back and forth I told her I was going to give it time, but in the meantime I have moved out and staying with my parents. I do love her. She is basically the woman of my dreams. She has a lot of great qualities, but I just can't do it anymore. When I finally told her on the phone that my decision is final, and that I would be filing for divorce, she called me selfish and immature, and told me that I had wasted her time by proposing to her. I honestly don't know if I'm doing the right decision now. When we are alone together, things are great, but it's the everything else that just exhausts me to the point that I have to leave. AITAH? First comment, I feel like this is super important. Sometimes people just expect you to do things for them, especially when you do it for them all the time. She might not be malicious about it, though. She sounds like she is, but the only way you're going to balance this out and possibly save this marriage is to establish boundaries. Yes, even with your partner. You're not responsible for your stepkids' tutoring. You're not a tutor. Your stepkids are old enough to do chores. You have a right as a stepfather to delegate chores to them. You're not a maid when you don't want to do something. You don't, especially when you have already done a lot. You can say no. If your wife gets upset about that, then that's her problem. Sure, it can escalate, but that's information you need if you want to stick around yelling at you and barking orders. Yelling at you and barking orders is only okay if you are okay with it, and honestly, no one is okay with anyone yelling at them. So, second comment, it's Reddit, so we always need to take a story with a grain of salt. But there's something missing here. Sorry to say it. Going based off your post and your comments, you list off that she has some good qualities, lay active, makes her own money, has a house, etc. But most of what you listed off as issues that you're having are things that come with being a spouse and a parent. You're using words like barked and demanding, but those can just be your word choice because you're upset. Then you go on to say you miss sitting around with your friends, playing games, and eating pizza, things a childless bachelor does. Something a person with no responsibilities does. Helping in the yard, helping around the house, helping kids with their homework, and tutoring where they're struggling. These are normal things that homeowners and parents do. I have 3 kids and own a home. My free time, me time, is when the kids go to bed. The fact that you went straight to the nuclear option of divorce without talking to her about working on the marriage in any way is pretty telling. Have you voiced your concerns at all in the entirety of your marriage? What about when you were engaged or dating? Have you ever brought your issues to her, or did you expect her to read your mind? If there's more you're not telling us, that's one thing, but if this is it, you're throwing away your marriage without doing anything to fix it first, that's an issue. I don't blame her for being mad at you for wasting her time. Her kids are 16/15. You've been married for 4 years? So at minimum, they've been in your life since they were 12/11, or younger, hopefully due to dating and engagement. I would be pissed off if the person I'd invested that much time into and into my kids' lives just up and divorced me without communicating the issues beforehand and gave me a chance to work on things. Third comment, agreed. From the way he talks, it's clear he's used to having very little responsibility outside of work. It's very difficult to tell if he's merely working like a parent should, and this is too much for him, or if he's lazing around and his wife barking is asking him to pick up half the work. I want to hear about how his wife took 6 hours to make spaghetti, because that sounds like a wild embellishment. If she did take 6 hours for a meal that at most takes 20 minutes to boil water from cold and 10 minutes to cook, and she's actually barking orders at him the moment he wakes and as he lies down to go to bed, it's time to run. If she actually was doing cleaning and other things around the house and 5 hours later decided to make dinner, that's totally different. And perhaps Op needs to learn that as a parent, often responsibilities begin when you wake up. I can totally understand her sounding to him like barking if he wants to laze in bed for an hour in the morning and play phone games while the kids need breakfast before school. Edit, he has admitted he thought his wife would remain a full-time mom and he would not have to be a parent when marrying her. He admits he thought they would continue their current lives while married and she has her own children. AITAH,